Absolutely.
Thank you. Let me see how we do this.
If you've already got them open.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I do. I do have them open. Do you think we'll have sound here?
Yes, we will have sound.
There's no sound.
Well, we always have had sound in the past.
Okay. So much for that.
It's muted on the computer.
And she gets an extra 5 points today. Thank you, young lady. Oops, sorry about that.
Textiles tell a story. In this particular instance, they tell the Levi Strauss story. It shows how we have evolved.
That's Lynn Downey. She's a historian for Levi Strauss.
Manufacture of textiles, how our society has changed.
You saw this one, Mom?
The company acquires historic garments from a number of different sources. They might come from collectors, or they might have been found in abandoned mines. We also find clothing at flea markets or buy items from consumers. Everything in the textile collection is kept in muslin, acid-free tissue in boxes, and then stored in a temperature-controlled environment. If an item needs preservation work, there are a number of steps we take to do this. This pair of waist overalls is a very recent acquisition, and we can date them as one of the very oldest pair of waist overalls in our collection. The reason we can say this is because of the various details. So we know these date probably to the 1870s. Because these waist overalls are a new acquisition, they definitely are in need of a bath. And that is the first step in any conservation project. And I am using just plain San Francisco tap water. Nothing has been added. And I just lay them in gently and wait for the water to be absorbed by the textile. Bits and pieces are coming off, and those are mostly just little pieces of thread. But they're in relatively good shape. And here obviously is some printing on the fabric that was used for the pocket bag. This garment's going to require several more baths until the water comes absolutely clean. And then it's just laid out and dried for several more days. Once it's completely dry, we will decide what kind of conservation the garment really needs to stabilize it, if it needs patches, if it just needs some very rudimentary stitches, and that's the second step in the process of conservation. I'm going to start a conservation process on this particular shirt. It dates to 1910. We acquired it from a bunkhouse in the Southern Sierras, a bunkhouse for miners. It was encrusted with literally years of grime and dirt from the mines. These are probably stains from candle wax, which is very common, especially in mines, because the miners wore a band across their head with a small stumpy candle, and as they worked, the candle wax would drip down on their clothing. Because there are several tears along the front of the shirt, what we want to do is stabilize the whole area and give it a foundation, a lining. Taking our muslin now, putting it underneath, positioning it so all the areas that need to be patched will be covered. I use a white thread because it's a contrasting thread, and there's made no attempt to hide the patch, because you just want it to be as obvious as possible if anyone does want to remove any of this for further research, perhaps on the garment. And modern conservation techniques would be just to stabilize the garment, don't make any attempt to hide a tear. So it gets wrapped up in its muslin and goes back into the acid-free box. This garment is an example of conservation that has been done on a waist overall. It's called the Nevada.
Look at how it preserves the blue. It's, I mean, you can't see it very well there, but here in the screen, it's unbelievable. It looks like some of the jeans we have today. That's over 100-something years old.
Somewhere along the way, so it didn't have to be dipped or bathed. We closed up the crotch, and again, you can see simple contrasting stitches, easy to remove, but no other.
You see buttons for the, instead of a
To
zipper?
certify the garment, just to stabilize it.
There's a flap that covers it.
When you put the whole picture together, you can actually read into a garment by the drape of it or little details that it leaves behind. You can see where his knee was. You can see if he rode a horse for 10 hours, 18 hours a day, he was the working man, whether he was a miner, whether he was a laborer, a farmer, a rancher, or a railroad engineer. These garments that we have here all tell a story. They belong to somebody in a particular time that's far, far away from what we see today.
That is very cool.
What do you think a Nevada 80s would sell for today?
I don't know that specific model. The oldest 501 jean that they have in store, they had to pay $127,000 for it, and they have it insured for over $1 million. Exactly. You go like, are you? But let me put it in perspective. This is part of the history of who we are as a nation. This is the garment that people who were the miners in 1849 decided to wear. I mean, how does it get any more cool than that? Well, maybe if we could find the original pigs and pants, and you go to California, and there's a ton of museums out there that show the history of miners, and Levi's trousers all over them. So next time you have a pair of jeans in your hands, just, have a different mindset over it, because this is part of who we are. So that's all I've got for you guys today. How are we doing on time?
We have
5 minutes?
no,
We're done?
we have 30 minutes left.
Okay.
Two, right?
Yeah, so,
Let me show you something very cool. I'm going to pass this around. Okay, I want you to be very respectful of it. This is a 1962 watch from Levi Strauss that was given to me as a gift in a Christmas. The only parts that are newer than that are the belts and this metal plate. But I don't use it. It's very cool. Please. I'm going to pass it in this little box. Let's keep it in the box. And I want it in the box when it comes back. Thank you. You can.
so I saw that Bloomberg
Yes.
put up that jean sales plummeted from 7 billion to 4.8 billion
Yep.
in just recent years.
Hmm?
What do you think Levi's is going to do, or is doing now?
Well, they have evolved dramatically. Dockers is as good as a company in their sales as is their Levi traditional line. Their expansion into women's wear is unbelievable. I think that their next expansion is something that Gap is already doing. And Gap and Levi's have always competed. Athleta. Athleta is an athletic wear line for women that's coming up. They have a store in Kenwood. My wife loves the Athleta line. She's a spinning instructor. She's like, forget anything else. That's the line I like. She goes, the athletics thing, on Lululemon, that's crap. It's either that or Nike, but that's what they're doing. It's diversifying the line. The brand itself is as powerful as it was 50 years ago. The other part of it is that you have a different need at times for folks that may say, gee, I got to dress a little different. And you have alternatives. You have still jeans that look like dress pants, And then you have dress pants that look like jean. I got a pair of Dockers for Christmas that if I would have worn them, you would not be able to tell they're a pair of Dockers. They look like a really super cool wool pant, kind of, wool like, it's not. It's just regular cotton, it's a Dockers. That's what they do. They diversify the line. Yes, sir.
So I hear about like the fast fashion industry
Yeah.
where like, these companies are creating like new lines like micro seasons like every week.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like Levi's is really taking that path. Is that really hurting them?
I don't know because I haven't been part of the organization for at least 18 years. I'll tell you this, as a regular marketing guy, which I am, I like fads as an indicator. I don't follow fads because they're death. They're a fad, and I've always, I have one daughter, and she was here back, and she's a huge fashion follower, but we have what I call the basics. And I'll tell her, sweetie, basics will never go out of style. So, and we talk about this, and one of them is sunglasses. Sunglasses for women come and go like chewing gum. But what does she wear? She wears aviators from Ray-Ban. And she goes, Dad, every time I put it on, people are like, exactly. It's the classic. The classic never goes out of style. There could be variations on classics. My most recent acquisition, and I like clothing. Believe me, I have as much clothing as my wife because when you're in the industry, you just like it. My most recent acquisitions are Henleys. I have never had a Henley till now. They've been around since the 1800s. And my wife was, that's a long sleeve, that's a long sleeve shirt. I said, that's a Henley. It has 3 buttons. It's thicker cut, and she goes, why is it a Henley? I don't know why it's a Henley, but it's a Henley. But my comment to you is, classics never go out of style because they're classics. There are variations of it. Use might be something different. With all the technology that we need to carry ourselves, I have 2 phones, I have my keys, my security indicator. It's like, okay, I wish I could. Remember that part? Innovation. I wish how they thought about, I wonder if that's where innovation comes. Any more questions? This is good, guys. I'm really liking the way you guys are thinking. Miss, what thoughts do you have? You haven't spoken a word.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't have any thoughts right now? Yeah.
Not really.
By the way, when I'm teaching, I like to do this. Thank you, sir. I like to.
So can you talk about the innovation model and stuff that you mentioned?
Let me show that to you for a second. I'm supposed to be at a board meeting or something on Pro Kids right now.